Zen. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
Oh, great. Awesome. Sorry I'm late. I just got the link.
we were having technical difficulties.
That's okay. We're working it out.
I've been working
Hi,
on
Michelle. I'm Zen. I'm from Mission Viejo, Orange County. Nice to meet you.
Hi. I can't see anybody, but I hope you can still see me. So it's a
Yes,
little
we can.
one-sided, but I'm glad to meet you by voice.
Where are you from, Michelle?
I am from the Washington, D.C. area, but I'm in Spokane working with Andie on the GE labeling campaign.
Awesome. Exciting.
So the local news, I'll let Michelle talk about that then. Yeah,
Sure.
what's going on in Washington?
Yeah, I'll just give it a little short debrief and you guys can ask any questions. But yeah, so Food and Water Watch organizers have been on the ground since early January. And so as some of you may know, we're in Seattle, Bellevue, Vancouver, and Spokane. So I'm the organizer here in Spokane, and Andie is one of our top volunteers. Could not do any of this without her. But so far what we've really focused on is grassroots outreach, coalition building, and another upcoming tactic that we're looking to utilize is media outreach to really build a lot of visibility around this campaign, and trying to really just kind of spark a dialogue with other people who still haven't heard about this issue or just finding out about it. So we had a little day of action back in February. And so we had some volunteers come out to gather photo petitions, and there's a lot of really great photos up on our Facebook page. You should check those out. And so in addition to that, what we've been doing is just trying to have these core meetings where we really build upon a really strong base of volunteers and people who are really committed to this campaign. And then the next steps will be to really build outwards from that strong base and engage more and more people in this conversation and get them activated and get them passionate about this issue, which is just, you know, going all over the country. It's an explosive, really, really hot button issue right now. I know in New Mexico we have some friends with Food and Water Watch who are trying to pass city ordinances against genetically engineered foods because the statewide bill was killed in committee. And so we're seeing that statewide legislation is happening, but there's a lot of pushback, and we're expecting it in Washington as well. So we're not really sure when Monsanto or these other chemical companies and their lobbyists are going to arrive, but we're trying to build a really strong firewall. So this week in Spokane, at the end of next week, there's going to be a St. Patrick's Day parade, which is an annual event. But one of our other volunteers, Ron Cully, is going to be leading a really great group of people to march in the parade with everyone. It's a really family-friendly event. But one of our friends, Seth Williams, he's a local organic farmer who's really concerned about genetically engineered foods and the potential impact of contamination on his farm. But he's lending us his tractor. It's a really cute little red tractor, and we're going to drive that during the parade and have our volunteers and their kids come out to hold signs, and we're going to hand out flyers for this other event that's happening the week after that. And so this is a statewide thing, but I know Emma Boorboor, who's going to be on.
She's right here. She's here.
Oh, great, Emma.
And are you about done? There. Sorry. So here's Emma. There you go.
Yes, a statewide arrangement, but all of us are having these large-scale visibility events where we're hosting big-ticket speakers to come talk with the community and just really discuss this issue. And I think it's the same with Emma's event, but we will also be promoting our local coalition partners here in Spokane. So Bumble Bar, which is a great provider of vegan, gluten-free, all organic snap bars, which is located over in Spokane Valley, is going to be there. And our big keynote speaker so far that we've gotten locked down is Tom Stahl. So he's the uniquely outspoken conventional wheat farmer from Central Washington. And so we're really excited that he's able to come out here and put in the time to come speak to us. And then, yeah, so that's basically it. But
When is the parade again? Can you say when the parade is?
Yes, the parade is on March 16th. So it's not this Saturday, but next Saturday. And it's at noon, so it's right in the middle of the day. So hopefully we'll get a lot of visibility through that.
Thanks, Michelle.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, I had myself muted because I was typing. So Emma, can you go ahead and tell us what's going on in Seattle? Can you hear me now? Yes. Can you hear me? Can you talk? Emma, you're not coming through. So if you could, I can't hear you.
I'm mute.
There you go.
Here I am.
There you are. Okay.
Yeah, I somehow was muted, but I was saying I'm a little jealous that Michelle got Tom Stahl to speak at her event because I was hoping he'd come to Seattle to speak at my event. We're doing we have a very similar campaign plan as Michelle has out in Spokane. But basically, I'm sure Michelle basically said all of this. I came on a little bit after she started talking, but essentially we're trying to build up from our base and build a really strong groundwork of support before we get bombarded with all those Monsanto TV ads and before the opposition. We're trying, taking a lesson from California and really starting early. So similar to Michelle having a big event, we're having an educational forum here in Seattle on the 21st, which is a Thursday evening. I didn't get intros from the other women, but is anyone here from Seattle or from Washington?
Yeah, I'm from Spokane.
Oh,
this is Andie Frostad. Yeah. And then Laurie, of course.
Yeah. So I'm across the water, but we get over there now and then. So.
Cool. Yeah, well, we'll be having we're calling it the Right to Know GE Food Forum, and it's going to be an educational event where in the beginning we'll have tables set up for local businesses and groups to have informational tables, demos for like gardening demos, and then also some food from local businesses, followed by an hour of a panel discussion moderated by Trudy Bialik, who's basically the head of the I-522 campaign.
Cool. Okay, so you guys, have you heard anything about the hearing? I mean, have you paid any attention to the I-522 hearing that just happened in the House? Yes, on Tuesday. That's where I was.
You did great. That was a wonderful testimony, Laurie, because Laurie testified, but the whole hearing was her son, his testimony. It was at the end, right before Trudy spoke, and
appreciate that.
It was great. Yeah.
It was. I was just so nervous. You get to those things, and there they are sitting in front of you, and they're on these, high risers, and you're just sitting there down in the bottom, looking up at them, and it can be kind of intimidating, and also they can say, okay, you have 20 minutes, and then they can tell you, no, you don't have, not that they would give somebody like me 20 minutes, but what I'm saying is they have panels, and the panels have 20 minutes, and those speakers have to split the time up between them, and then what happens is, somebody else winds up needing to speak, and so they cut your time down. So the great thing to think about for anybody out there who's going to do something like this is that you should have a speech ready, and I'm talking to myself as much as anybody else, that is like 1 minute long, 2 minutes long, 3 minutes long, 5 minutes long, 10 minutes long, and just get out whatever information you feel is most important. But the other thing is, they don't want to hear the same thing over and over and over, these senators and representatives, whatever state they're from or whoever it is. They don't want to hear it over and over. So the thing to do
the testimony
is as you listen to other people, you just start crossing things off of what you're going to speak about so that you don't duplicate. Anyway, go ahead, Andie.
Well, the hearing I thought was fantastic. I thought it went way better than the Senate hearings, and I was really happy with all the speakers and everybody nothing was repeated. They hit all the points. They had a captive audience there, so it was good. It went great.
Good job, ladies.
It was fun.
It's recorded, so if you can find it on the website, so we'll have the links on it.
I lost one. There she is. Okay, so today what we have in store, and I'm not sure how this is going to work out, but we've got two people coming on. We've got Jon McGoran, who's an author, and we've got Rob Herring, who's written some music for this movement. And the food movement, I was just listening to something by Michael Pollan about how this food movement, it has started out splintered. It's like other movements, they start off and they're all together, cohesive, everybody's on the same page, then they get splintered. Well, this movement, there's so many different parts of it that is Well, that's what I thought it would be. There's like kind of a like casual event. Yeah. I mean, it had any speakers or anything, but it was like. Who's got background in the name tag? Somebody talking in the background for somebody? Okay. Anyway, so the thing is that I think that it's a good thing to have the musicians on board and the authors on board, because it's another way to get the word out to people. And so I've invited two today, and we're going to hear from them shortly. So is there anything last that you have to say, Emma or Kim or Michelle? Sorry.
No problem.
Do you have anything more? I'm going to go ahead and invite Jon into the conversation. I'm not sure how many people we can have at one time. So if we can't hear him, I might need somebody to hop off. But okay.
Yeah, I need to leave in a couple of minutes anyhow. So if that is the case, I'd be happy to hop off anyhow. So.
Okay, thanks.
Bye, Michelle.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Laurie, can I have a second to make an announcement?
Sure, yes.
Okay, great. Hi, I'm Zen, and I'm the originator of Moms Across America March to Label GMOs.
Yes.
And I'm coming out of Southern California, and I have an announcement that our site is now live. And I'm very excited. We have a map with 92 marches across America ready for you to sign up at. And I met last night at the Natural Products Expo West with Food Democracy Now! And Organic Consumer Association. And the word is getting out, and people are very excited about it. And it's just go to momsacrossamerica.com and sign up to March. And if you want to be a leader, just check volunteer when you sign up to March, and we'll make you leader of your parade or your area. And really excited about that.
Now, what is this all the same date?
It's all on July 4th. There might be a few events that are on the weekend, but most of them are actually on July 4th because it's a national day, day off work, and everybody has a day off, and most people go to a parade anyway, and you can just join in and have fun with other moms and connect. The most important thing is to connect with other people in our area that feel the same way we do and that are passionate about it. And we're all struggling to feed our kids GMO-free, and we can connect and support each other and have fun and celebrate our freedoms, on this day. So I'm really excited about that.
So there's 75 already sites on there.
92 parades already listed. And if your parade in your area is not listed, you can just click Add Event, and you can fill in the information yourself and connect with people, in that area. Yeah, our goal is to have 100 people at each parade, passing out 1,000 flyers, and to reach 1 million people.
Oh, that's exciting.
Personally, yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Our guest has joined us. Hi, Jon.
Hi, Jon.
Hi, how are you doing? Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm well. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Google was telling me that due to the number of participants in the Hangout, my microphone was muted by default.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we've had that before.
Yeah.
But you can hear me now?
We can hear you fine.
Great.
So can you tell us something about your new book coming out in July?
Sure, yeah. So I'll tell you a little bit about my background. I've written a few mysteries and thrillers in the past. But for the last 20 years, I've been working as the communications director at Weaver's Way Food Co-op in Philadelphia, and I've been writing a lot about food issues and agricultural issues. The trend on those topics kind of enforced a merger between the two aspects of my writing life. So I started working on this book, Drift, which is a thriller, an ecological thriller about genetically modified organisms and agropharmaceuticals and designer pathogens and kind of the blurry line between food and pharmaceuticals and crime, and how GMOs kind of pervade that overlap. So the book is coming out from Tor Forge in July 9th. I'm having a big launch event at the Academy of Natural Sciences in Philadelphia, so I'm very excited about that. And I'm hoping to get some either some of the statewide people or national people in the GMO labeling movement to at the very least table, but hopefully say a few words as well, because I think it's a lot of what makes the book as relevant as it is.
Sorry.
No, can't hear you.
There. Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay. I won't touch it again. Very sensitive mouse thing. Anyway, so I'm sorry. The kids, we had breakfast, but they're hungry again. It's really hard keeping a 13-year-old full.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, and that's my daughter, Andrea. And it's live. I'm sorry. It just seemed like everything just was crazy this morning, trying to get this up and going. So, anyhow, so tell me some more about. You were talking about the march. I mean, I know how you found out, or a part of it. How did you first find out about genetically modified food?
Well, so as I said, I've been writing about these kinds of issues for decades, and there's been this trend among food, or food technology and food systems of just getting weirder and weirder and more outlandish and more kind of science fiction thrillery. And I just wrote a piece for a mystery journal. And I look back at like irradiation and even cloning, and they're both kind of these outlandish sci-fi technologies, but they seem almost quaint now compared to the genetic engineering that's going on. And whereas with those technologies, there were definite kind of health and maybe ethical concerns, I don't think they had quite the same level of environmental concerns, of this kind of threat that they could really get out into the environment and change the environment. I mean, especially when you're talking about biofarming and agropharmaceuticals and pollen drift. That these things these embedded traits can spread into the environment and spread uncontrollably. Or when you have this aqua bounty, genetically modified fish that, well, if it ever gets out, and they assure us that it won't get out, but it's already gotten out. So that starts to really, be really, really scary. So it was definitely on my radar for sure, and had been for a while. And then when the Just Label It, movement started, the Right to Know March, they contacted Weaver's Way Co-op in Philadelphia and said, we're going to be doing this march, and we would like to, to have your co-op be one of our stops. So that was great. I mean, that kind of really boosted things to the next level and focused, focused a lot of concerns and a lot of discomfort and a lot of trepidation with where food was going onto the notion of labeling it. And I think that one of the things that's important right now, and it kind of concerns me a little bit, I've been involved in some local political endeavors. There was a big zoning fight in Philadelphia just in the last few months that would have really negatively impacted urban agriculture. And there's other, Weaver's Way is very active in the urban farming movement, and we do a lot of things in that regard. And this was something that we thought was a real serious threat. There's another thing that we're concerned about, and that is that there are laws unnecessarily restricting raising chickens in the urban environment. And that's something that we want to work on as well. But there was this woman named Amy Laura Kahn at the Public Interest Law Center of Philadelphia, and she really kind of spearheaded this effort to defeat this zoning proposal. And I worked very closely with her on that, and really kind of gained an appreciation for the political nuances of an advocacy fight like that. And one of the things that she was saying was, we're not going to do the chickens and the zoning at the same time. If you fight about chickens now, then the people who are opposed to community gardens will say, well, what about chickens? And all of a sudden you've got this confused fight, and you're fighting on multiple fronts, and really kind of it makes good sense to think about these things. So right now, I think by the time the labeling movement got underway, there was, some people had already thrown up their hands and said, we lost. There's GMOs everywhere. We're never going to stop them. We're never going to get them under control. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. I don't think that's the case. But I do think that right now, there's this fight about labeling. And I think that to the extent that the movement can really focus on that, and focus on that alone almost, You know, I don't think we have to give up notions of restricting them further and reducing them further or eliminating them further or definitely researching them further in the future. But I do think that it makes a lot of sense right now for the movement to kind of focus on labeling. I think it's very doable. I think it's something that's going to succeed and will, you know, pave the way for, you know, for the next fight. So anyway, so that's, you know, when the labeling march, you know, when the Right to Know march came through Philadelphia and Mount Airy, where Weaver's Way is, it definitely signified that there was, you know, this next phase and a very vital phase and a very energy-filled phase of this fight. That there was a new focus and there's a new energy. And I think it kind of, you know, maybe it got sidetracked a little bit, you know, for Prop 37, maybe not. I think that did a lot to coalesce, to help people, you know, coalesce their thoughts on the issue as well. And now, you know, that it's moving forward on all these different state fronts. And I was just in a conference call on Friday, I think, with Gary Hirschberg and the Just Label It people and the Right to Know people, and they were, you know, talking about beginning to work with the Environmental Working Group on kind of reinvigorating the national fight as well, and doing that at the same time and in conjunction with and cooperation with all these state fights. So I think now it really is a very, very exciting time. And actually, in Pennsylvania, next week, next Monday is the kind of the official unveiling, but on Tuesday there's going to be a big kind of ceremony rally in the Capitol Rotunda at the state capitol, where the GMO labeling legislation is going to be formally introduced. And I've been working with some people, I've been working with Food and Water Watch and some other people to get, you know, to hopefully get it assigned to the Consumer Protection Committee instead of the Agriculture Committee. And I'm very honored. I'm going to be one of the speakers at the event in the Rotunda when the legislation is unveiled on Tuesday. So there's a lot of very exciting stuff going on.
That's awesome. What was the name of that march that you were talking about?
The Right to Know March?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, a year ago, October. It was from, I think it started in Brooklyn. It was from Brooklyn to D.C.
Yeah, I was there.
Big rally.
I showed up there in D.C.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
is that when Vandana Shiva?
Right.
Vandana Shiva talked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was great.
Yeah, it was. I was not able to go to D.C., but just the energy and the critical mass right here in Philadelphia when it came through was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was fun. So.
Well, that's great. Thanks so much for the update about what's going on out there.
John, can you tell us again where to get your book when it comes out?
So the book is coming out in July. The official launch date is July 9th. And the launch event, if anybody out there is in the Philadelphia area, is going to be at the Academy of Natural Sciences in Philadelphia, which is the oldest science museum in the country. And it's this great, venerable institution with, you know, dinosaur skeletons and, you know, a few musty dioramas, but also a very, very cool butterfly exhibit. In my book, the monarch butterflies figure very prominently in the center of the plot. So they're all over the cover of the book. And here, actually.
Jessica. Oh, yeah. You gotta raise it up higher.
Yeah. No.
Up higher.
You gotta put it
There
up
we go.
there.
There you go.
There it is.
Oh.
Anyway, so yeah, it's very exciting, and I'm working on the sequel right now, which is, you know, it is a sequel, so it's the same, you know, a lot of the same characters and a lot of the same themes, and it actually is going to focus on GMOs and possible relationship, real or otherwise, between GMOs and colony collapse disorder and what's going on with the bee populations in the world. So that's been pretty exciting too. I've been doing a lot of really fascinating research. So the book is available for pre-order right now, and pre-orders are awesome. Authors love pre-orders because publishers love pre-orders, and if your publisher's happy, then you are happy. So if you, it's just make sure you're not looking at the Rachel Maddow book, name drift, which was an unfortunate little coincidence, I guess. But it's available. It's on the website at Powell's and Barnes & Noble and Amazon and IndieBound. And I've been fortunate enough to get some really nice blurbs from some big names in the field. So that's been really nice. So one of the things that I'm going to, part of what I'm doing over the next couple of months, my publisher is they're kind of well positioned to get the word out about the book among mystery and thriller writers. But since this is something that I care about and that is something that's been a big part of my life for a long time, I really do want to try to get the word out among the people who would care about the issues that are involved. And it does it's essentially it's a thriller, but it does there's issues of organic farming. The love interest is an organic farmer. There's somebody who suffers from multiple chemical sensitivity. There's designer pathogens and the relationship between the pharmaceutical industry and the food industry. I was just reading a kind of a somewhat disturbing report about GMO mushrooms now that will be creating pharmaceuticals, and and then the thing is also I don't want to be a Luddite, and I don't want to be you look at these technologies and they're very, very powerful, and you look at people who are in dire situations who need transplants or insulin or whatever pharmaceuticals that these bioengineered crops can produce, and you don't want to deny them what they need, but I do think that we definitely have the right to know, and I do think that we definitely need to be more careful with these things than we've been, and I do think that they just have not been in any way adequately researched. I don't know if any of you read Tom Philpott's article about the French study with the rats and the tumors, and there's this kind of backlash saying that study was totally invalid, but there was a lot of very powerful science in that study that has not been done anywhere else.
What's interesting is that study has not been retracted.
Right.
The study's not been retracted. And the journal, they've come out with another study since that he's done with the toxicity of the other ingredients in Roundup that really haven't been studied. And before they even put that out, I think in that same, the editor had almost like a defensive article when it was printed or when it was published, already putting up the defense.
Well, you wonder where all that pressure is coming from, and there's billions of dollars being thrown around. So I really again, it's like I don't want to be a Luddite, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but come on, it's like these people with lots and lots of money have very, very strong interests, and it was striking how as soon as that study came out, there was this kind of common wisdom retraction among the press that, it was, apparently it was a very small study. It's like, well, it was 200 rats. That's a big study. And the reason it was so small is because it was the first time a study had been done for such a long duration. And all of these vast negative consequences or negative outcomes among the rats in the test who got the Roundup or who got the GMO corn, one of the things that differentiated this study from previous studies was that it lasted longer than 90 days. Almost all the previous studies had only lasted 90 days, and all of these negative outcomes that were evidenced in this study only showed up after 90 days. None of them were, this huge increase in tumors, this huge increase in premature death, the liver disease and kidney disease, and all these negative outcomes, and none of them, there was not an inkling before 90 days. So you look at all these things that, the pesticides and chemicals that have been taken off the market, or, cigarettes. I mean, you can get a lot of smoking done in 90 days and not have too much of a negative outcome. But that doesn't mean that it's proven safe. So when you have these people like Monsanto and the other companies saying, hey, this stuff has been researched, it's been proven safe, well, we know that's not the case. That's not the case.
John?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
All very good information.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm multitasking. That's the job of the person who started.
Well, we can put the links down below when this is recorded to the book.
Yeah, we'll put the links down below.
Okay, great.
Somebody, while you were speaking, we had somebody join us. It's Jessica Denning, and I don't know her myself, but apparently Zen does know her. So, Jessica, you had something that you wanted to share with us? Can you talk? Let me see. I don't think it's working.
I think the screen says that Laura just muted Jessica.
Well, I undid it.
Okay.
It and then I undid it, and now it's undone. And
I'm wondering, I mean, if there is a limit, should I mute myself to make room?
Oh, that might work. Try
Okay.
that.
So I'm going to go ahead and listen, and if anybody wants me to chime in, just let me know somehow.
Okay. There. Can you talk now? Jessica, I'll mute myself. And Zen, since you know her, you can. Here, Jessica, can you work your chat? There's a chat on the side. If you type in what you want to say, we can read it for you, since your speaker's not working.
Oh, we can also have her come on next again.
Yeah, that would work too.
Because kind of work the kinks out,
yeah.
And
unless Zen, do you know, is it something that's happening right away?
Sorry, okay, I was muted just to see if she could speak. It looks like she just came to say hi. This is her first hangout, and she was sorry that she was muted. Yeah, she just wanted to come on and say hi. Jessica is a Grange member in the Sacramento Grange, extremely active in Prop 37, and one of my mentors, I'd have to say, and really just very active and wonderful person, and I'm glad to see her here. And
oh, I see. Yeah, she did type a message. She just said that she had typed a message before, but I didn't see, because her picture is different and everything. So anyway, she says, howdy, this is my first time to hang out. Sorry, my screen said that I was muted. Okay, well, you're not muted. Wait a minute, I can hear you typing. Can you talk?
Yeah, oh, and she's saying that the bees in Sacramento, half the bees are gone so far this year. So they are really being impacted.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And John's book is covering the colony collapse disorder too.
Yeah, and she's saying even though our biodynamic beekeeper has lost bees for the first time. So there's definitely some drift happening because even the biodynamic ones are being impacted. And you know, the ironic thing is, I hear about this, is that Monsanto says that their crops are to feed the world, but we cannot feed the world without bees. We will starve without bees. They're the ones that make our food possible.
Monsanto bought Beelogics.
Yeah.
It's a research company. Yeah. The irony. So, yeah, it's not a good situation with the bees at all. And I have concerns. We have bees, and if my neighbor decides they're going to plant something that's genetically engineered, which alfalfa, it's a high probability, then I can't prevent my bees from, going to foliage, bringing the pollen back with GE, with contaminants in my honey.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got to speak up, and we got to speak up now about this.
Yeah.
That is, oh good, John, that's in the book.
Great, John, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to chime in because I couldn't believe it when I was doing the research into the colony collapse and the possible role of GMOs, and it's very controversial. I mean, the GMOs, the neonicotinoid, pesticides definitely seem to have a major impact in it. But a lot of people think that it's a confluence of a bunch of different different issues, with GMOs possibly being a major one. And this company, Beelogics, was doing a lot of research that was very compellingly going down that road. And so Monsanto went and bought them up. So I just grabbed that that was just such an amazing story. I grabbed that, and one of the main characters in the book that I'm working on now about the bees, which is called Dead Out, which is what they call the dead hives. The scientist who works for Biologics is kind of still working for Biologics, but has this corporate overlord company that is putting all this pressure on her. It's just a fascinating development, plot-wise. From a humanity and bee standpoint, it's a grim development, but it's just a fascinating story about corruption and corporate power.
Okay, I have to log off. I'm going to hope that works with your next guest being able to speak. Take care, and we'll see you next week, everybody.